fighting for truth, justice, strippers, and whiskey. Did I mention strippers?
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, right there.
I'm leaving right after this drink. Rock and roll, whiskey, and other stories with Brian Shaw.
Cheers. And welcome to episode 36 of I'm Leaving Right After This Drink, Rock and Roll, Whiskey, and Other Stories. And before we get into tonight, first let me just let you know that I'm not drinking my normal Jack Daniels. As tonight, I didn't have any regular Jack Daniels. I kind of let that slide, and I didn't pick up any at the liquor store last week. But I did happen to have some Jack Fire and Jack Apple around the house, which you gotta love that stuff. And if you mix them together with a little bit of cranberry juice, you get this fantastic drink, my friends. And I don't know what it's called other than delicious. So do yourself a favor and mix yourself up a concoction of this, and you'll be a happy guy. It's a little sweet, but man, it is damn tasty. So again, as I like to say at the beginning of all the episodes, thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and donating to the podcast, as you can do just by scanning that little QR code right there. That would be fantastic. And for those of you that have donated, a few of you have been so kind. And I know that you guys donated because of Tits McGee, and I greatly appreciate that. And I will let you know that Tits McGee and myself will be having some shots. Thank you to you. We'll be doing that most likely this weekend. And you know what? If I'm lucky, maybe we'll get some photos of us doing some shots, and you guys can actually see that I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass and just taking your money, because I'm not, seriously. So anyhow, like I said, scan that QR code right there, and feel free to donate to the podcast, and we will definitely have a drink in your honor. Maybe we'll even give shout outs. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe we'll give some shout outs to those who donate to the podcast. So maybe we'll give that a shot and see if that encourages some of you to buy myself or Tits McGee a shot of whiskey. And by the way, I mean, have you seen Tits McGee's tits? I mean, they're fantastic. So anyhow, it is episode 36, and I got to tell you, my friends, it is crazy. Lots of shows happening. Of course, I've told you in the previous episode some of the shows that I've been to. In just a couple of weeks, we're headed to the Keys to see George Thorogood, and yeah, going to see George one more time. And it's kind of funny because I remember seeing on my Facebook memories just not long ago, like I'm talking within the last couple of months, of like, gonna go see George probably for the last time. Nope, definitely not the case. And I can tell you still that George has been the most shows I have ever been to and seen of any musician. So George holds that title in my book, and I still love George. I, of course, own a George Thorogood guitar from a previous episode. You can, get all the information about my purchase of the awesome Epiphone George Thorogood guitar that I have. So anyhow, lots of shows still coming up. I even purchased tickets to go see Zach again in Houston later on this year. Tits McGee and myself are going to be road tripping, and we're going to be seeing her brother on that road trip as we all go and do the Black Label Zach Sabbath and Dark Chapel show. So looking forward to that. Like I said, Thorogood's coming up. What else we got going on, man? So many shows. It is crazy. Gary Hoey's coming up. We've got Kid Rock. I mean, I can't even tell you the amount of concerts that I'm going to over the next few months. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm going to get into a story tonight, which I didn't expect to even think about. And I actually had totally forgotten about this. And somehow or another, me and a friend of mine were talking about this band, or we were talking about something, and about my days in Roanoke, Virginia. And somehow the band 7 Mary 3 came up in our conversation. And we were talking about that song Cumbersome and all this. And I'm like, I don't even know how this conversation came up. But I was like, man, I remember doing a show with those guys, and they were such dicks. Like, it's pretty rare and I've said this a couple of times before. There's obviously a few previous episodes in my first probably 10 or so where, yeah, talked about some asshole people. And Seven Mary 3 definitely ranks up there. And this past weekend, I met up with a friend of mine from radio, and we started talking about just different folks and different things that were going on in the business in our past. And, that's how me and him, met, was from doing radio together and stuff. And we just started talking about, just good times and crazy things and all that kind of shit. And again, Seven Mary 3 popped up into that conversation, and it was just like, what the fuck? But yeah, this band, bunch of dicks. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, you would think that a band that really, in the big scheme of things, had like one huge song, which is Cumbersome. Now, you can make an argument that they had another song, I believe, called like Water's Edge or something like that, that was okay. And the album American Standard, which Cumbersome is on, is actually a pretty damn good record. And I do like the guy's voice. I think it was different. It was kind of, the whole thing at that time was definitely a little bit different. But my friends, going back to probably like 1997, maybe 98. It could have been 98. I'm not really sure. But we brought this band to Roanoke, Virginia. Actually, we brought them to Lynchburg, Virginia. We went and brought them to a place called Catalani's. Now, who knows if this place is still around or not. But this was also a very cool bar to do some shows at. Held probably, I don't know, 500 people, maybe 1,000. I'm not even sure. But it was a huge country bar up in Lynchburg. And we used to bring some rock and roll shows in there. And we decided to bring Seven Mary 3 in there one night. And yeah, did I mention they were kind of dicks? So yeah, I think it was a Christmas show for us, and so in the typical like radio thing at the time. Now again, we're going back to 1997. And you would go out on stage, you'd do stage announcements between the bands, thank everybody for coming out, maybe throw out some T-shirts or some other radio station swag, whatever. And it was a lot of fun, and the people dug it. And so we're doing this show, and of course, beforehand, you kind of coordinate everything with the band's tour manager or whatever. And so we're backstage. I don't remember who opened. It could have been a local band for all I know. But Seven Mary 3 had just gotten off the road at this time. I believe they opened up for Aerosmith. And to kind of preface this story a little bit, like Aerosmith doesn't take out bands as their opener that are going to perform better than them, right? And I would assume most headlining acts don't do that, right? Because they don't want to be shown up by the opener. So anyhow, we're backstage, and don't get me wrong, by this point, before Seven Mary 3 came on, we've been pounding drinks like crazy. And it's myself, a bunch of people from the station, and a good friend of mine who worked at that radio station, and he was our promotions guy and a weekend guy. His name was Jake. And you either loved Jake or you hated Jake when he was on the air. I mean, I could do a number of podcasts just on his antics and myself's alone, mostly his. But, he was such an awesome dude. And I say he was because he passed away a few years ago. And man, rest in peace, Jake, man. You're always around, man, and I'm always thinking about you when I think about WROV, because, dude, that was some good fucking times, and including stories about bands who were jerks. So anyhow, we're hanging out backstage, and we're getting things kind of coordinated before we go on and bring up Seven Mary 3. And somehow or another, we're in the dressing room with the band, we're talking to the tour manager, and he's like, no, you guys aren't doing any stage announcements tonight. And we're like, what? What do you mean? He's like, no, you're not doing any stage announcements. I'm like, listen, dude, we're doing stage announcements. This is our fucking show, and we're definitely going out there and bringing the band on stage. And whether they come out right after us or not, I don't give a shit about that. But we are definitely going on stage and, throwing out our swag and doing our shit and promoting the upcoming shows that are coming to this bar. And then your band can come out and fucking rock the house. And around this time, like, we're having this conversation, and then I look over, and here's Jake backstage, who's ready to get in a fight because somebody in that band is like hitting on his girlfriend, and this is not going over very well. And it's like, holy shit, like, what is going on here, man? And he's pissed because he's like, dude, this guy's hitting on my fucking girlfriend. I'm like, dude, let it go. Like, let it go. Like, seriously, man. Like, what the fuck? Like, he's ready to like throw down with one of the band members. And I don't know who it was, but he was ready to throw down with one of these dudes. And it was hysterical. Of course, I'm laughing. He's pissed. But of course, we had been drinking a lot by this point. Because if there's one thing to be known about our time at WROV was we were booze hounds. And we drank a lot of alcohol there. And I've always said it, I'll continue to say it, that if I would have stayed there another 6 months, I firmly believe I would have been in an AA program. Like, it was insane. There was not many nights that this guy was not out drinking and then had to go on the air totally wasted. So, yeah, good times. So anyhow, we're backstage. We're talking. This shit's all going down. I'm trying to get to convince the tour manager, like, dude, we're going on fucking stage. Like, regardless of what the hell's going on. And like, things are getting heated. He's ready to fight one of the band members because like he's thinking this guy's going to take away his girlfriend, which is totally not the case. And not because she was unattractive. She was an attractive woman, but it's like, dude, your girlfriend's not going to go home with that dude. Like, fucking let it go. And he's like, no, I'm not worried about that. I'm just pissed he's hitting on her. Like, oh, Jesus. So I managed to kind of separate these guys. The tour manager, now he's pissed at this guy because this, and it's like a whole fucking thing backstage now at this point. We're like, Jesus, man. Can you just let us go on stage and do the fucking announcement and we'll all be fucking done with this shit? So we finally managed to get those guys under control so they don't fight. Me and the tour manager, we finally get it all worked out that we're going to go on stage and we're going to do the stage announcements. And he's like, but you got to be quick. We got to get this done. We got to get out of here. And a lot of things are being said back and forth, but it's kind of like, listen, guys. And at one point, one of the guys in the band is like, we don't need your support anyway. And I'm like, well, good, because then we just won't play your fucking music anymore. How about that? Now, this is also, again, at the time, there's no social media. There's no nothing other than radio stations to promote your music. So if you basically give the FU to a radio station, you got nothing, right? So I was like, you know what? Well, it's a good thing that I'm good friends with the guy at Atlantic Records, and we'll have that conversation tomorrow about how your fucking band is a pile of shit and we're not going to play your records anymore. And not being a pile of shit, like the album was garbage. The album was great. It was a good record. And as a matter of fact, I believe I actually have like a platinum album still somewhere in all of my stuff that is a 7 Mary 3 American Standard platinum album. Like, it's crazy. I mean, that record was huge. And you guys all know the song, and I would probably play it here on YouTube, but then YouTube will flag me, and then I won't get to play the song, and it blah, blah, blah. So anyhow, back to the story. We get on stage, and as we make our way to the stage, I look at Jake and I go, listen, dude, we're taking our sweet time, and as a matter of fact, let's try and drag this out as long as we possibly can to see if we can piss these guys off even more, right? And so we get on stage and we're announcing the things that are coming up at the club, and we're taking our time, and he's doing some stuff on his microphone. And by the way, we are so fucked up at this point that I think we're both probably talking at the same time. Like, there's all kinds of just chaos going on at this point because we are like, hey, screw 7 Mary 3. Like, we're on stage now and we're going to enjoy this moment. So, like, I mean, we're taking t-shirts and we're faking the throw over here and we're faking the throw over there. And we're trying to get the crowd hyped for the band and the whole thing along with all that. So we're just, again, taking our time. Finally, we kind of get done. We throw out our shit. We do all of our stuff. And we've probably been up there, I don't know, a good 5, 6, 7 minutes. And, normally that stuff takes like, I don't know, a minute and a half. And so we've decided we've killed enough time. We introduce the band. We get off stage. And the band comes on. Couldn't even tell you if they put on a good show or not. I remember vaguely nothing, mostly nothing about this show. I just remember the chaos that ensued beforehand, and it was absolutely crazy. But it's still just a funny moment to me because, we like to think that these bands are all cool guys, and you've heard it a million times, right? Like, don't meet your idols or whatever. And I don't know who. Somebody would think 7 Mary 3 and be their idols, like whatever. But that's neither here nor there. This is also a band that their name, fun fact, was actually from the old 70s cop show Chips. And 7 Mary 3 and 4 was John Baker and Frank Poncherello's call sign back to the dispatch. Yeah. Believe it or not, that is 100% true. Evidently, according to the band, they were just tired of looking up or trying to decide on names, and they went with that. And 7 Mary 3 was John Baker's call sign back to the dispatch, like I had mentioned. So kind of a little fun fact thrown in there. But at this time, this band had put out a second album called Rock Crown, I believe, which was, it was okay at best. It certainly didn't live up to the hype of American Standard. And so the nerve of the guy in the band to say, we don't need your support, was a pretty ballsy statement. So anyhow, that record was failing. And then I believe they were about to put out a new album called, I think it was just called Orange or something like that. And so I remember this show happening and all this stuff. And I was music director at that station at the time. And I remember going to the station the next day, and I call, I like to say my friend at Atlantic Records at the time, as because me and him had developed a great friendship over the years, over those couple of years of me being there and playing a bunch of new music and stuff like that. My new music show with a lot of the bands that were on Atlantic Records at the time, and one of those being Sabotage. And so I think he loved me for the simple fact that I was playing, Sabotage, that eventually became members of the TSO. And anyhow, so I called him up the next day and I was like, hey man, do you know that your band 7 Mary 3 is a bunch of douchebags? And he's like, what happened? And I kind of tell him the story and everything, and he starts laughing and he goes, who gives a shit? He goes, we're dropping them anyway. And I just thought that was hilarious. I was like, oh, well, that's all right. Then I guess we'll go ahead and still play their music, even though they're being dropped and nobody's going to give a shit, right? And he's like, yeah, pretty much. So that was kind of like this funny story that kind of happened out of all of this nonsense. Was I was like, dude, here I was like just wanting to be like big and bad and be like, well, fuck you guys, we're not going to play your music anymore. And of course, I didn't have that power to do that. But at the time when I was drunk and backstage, I had that power. So the next day I call him and like he's like, dude, who cares? We're dropping them, no big deal. The records, ever since the first one are not that great, this and that. I know there was some record label tension in there as well because they were on another division of Atlantic Records when they got signed and the whole thing. It's like a big fucking who gives a shit. No one cares. And this band is where today? Yeah. There's about as many people that are fans of that band today as that are probably watching this podcast right now. So anyhow, I know I wanted to kind of change it up a little bit tonight because the last few episodes have been just either talking about my back or talking about, just something crazy that's happened or, a show that we went to and stuff like that. And tonight I just thought I'd change it up and throw out a story about a band that has kind of been like, who, where, what are they doing nowadays? And so to their credit, they have a huge album and probably still get some mailbox money from some airplay somewhere, as I'm sure that song is still being played on radio stations, in different parts of the country, but definitely not here in Florida. So anyhow, my friends, that will take care of tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed a little story about the band 7 Mary 3 and their album American Standard. And enjoy a drink of Jack Fire Jack Apple. Let me know what you think about it. Put it down in the comments as far as I'm concerned. Don't forget, send us a little bit of dough for some whiskey. You know what I'm saying? I promise. And maybe if you guys do, we'll give you a shout out, because I'll tell you what, I'm going to give a shout out to Eddie for sending us some dough. And I'm going to give a shout out to Jamie for sending us some dough for some shots of whiskey. And we will definitely get some photos for you guys to show that we went out and did those shots. Don't want you to think I'm just pocketing the money, because that's definitely not what we're here for. I'm here for shots of whiskey and to tell some crazy stories or fun stories or even some dumb stories. So there you have it. Hope you guys have an awesome evening, and we'll see you on the next episode. Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. You dig?
God bless the internet.